Welcome to my day. I am not going to give you a face shot yet because my hair is up in a towel and I have no makeup on yet. But right now I am making my sourdough waffles. Somehow I miscalculated last night and I did not have nearly enough starter to make my normal triple batch. So this is actually a single batch that I'm working on right now, which is not going to be nearly enough. However, I'm going to make some scrambled eggs to go along with it. So these are just about ready. I'm making these slightly smaller than I normally would so that they'll go a little bit farther. And once I get all of the waffles made, I'm going to go ahead and do some scrambled eggs and we'll get going. Today, I'm going to be doing a day in the life video and taking you along on as much of the day as possible. Okay, here's the waffles and here's the eggs. It's going to have to be enough. So today is our 21st anniversary, and so Ryan had these beautiful flowers delivered. I have this thing about flower deliveries, I just love it. So on the anniversary card, this is what he wrote. Happy anniversary, hug, hug, kiss, kiss, hug, hug, big kiss, little hug, kiss, kiss, little kiss. Bonus points if you know what movie that's from. It's actually our favorite. It's like our family movie. So let me know in the comments if you know what movie that's from. So funny story. We have an attack duck now. Lawrence, my, let's see, he's gonna have a birthday tomorrow. He'll be 11. Last year he got 2 ducks for his birthday. That's what he wanted. Donald and Daisy. And unfortunately Daisy passed away a week ago. She got eaten by a predator. And so Donald has been walking around very sad, missing Daisy. And don't worry though, we're actually going to pick up 5 more ducks this weekend for Lawrence. I arranged that yesterday. So Donald will have some more friends. But so Donald is, he was always protective of Daisy. If you were to walk by, he would lower his head and kind of charge you. But he never got closer than like 2 or 3 feet away. He was just kind of in a defensive posture. And so now that Daisy has passed, he's just walking around. Well, yesterday we had an Amazon package delivered, as we do a lot of days. And my daughter was watching out the window, and Donald kind of hangs out in the front gardens by the front door now. And so this Amazon delivery guy was, you know, bringing our package, and he starts going towards the walkway and Donald charges at him like he does. And so this poor delivery guy, I don't know if he's just never seen a duck before or he's never had a duck charge at him, but it terrified him. And so he actually put the package down like halfway up the sidewalk and literally ran back to his delivery van. And so Hosanna was kind of watching out the window, and she started laughing and opened the door and was like, she went to get the package, and she said the delivery guy rolled down the window and was like, sorry. And she was like, it's okay, it's fine. And my husband opened the window and shouted out, you good? And he was like, yeah, I'm fine, just scared of the duck. So anyway, we now have a guard duck. And the reason why I'm telling you this is because when the flower delivery guy came, Hosanna watched out the window again, and she said that Donald behaved himself. So Donald approved of this delivery and did not try to intimidate the delivery driver at all. So anyway, I need to straighten up the kitchen a little bit. We've had lunch now, and after I do that, I'm going to be putting together that freezer meal that I was talking about in my last video, in the grocery haul video, the creamy pork chops. So I'm gonna get the kitchen clean and then we'll get started on that. Okay, I know that I said that I was, okay. I know that I said that I was going to do the crock pot dinners next, but actually I'm gonna mix up pizza dough because this is time sensitive, so I need to get this going. So I've already got the water in here. This is gonna be making 12 10-inch pizzas. We did sourdough pizzas for the first time last night, and I made up enough dough to do 8 10-inch pizzas, and it wasn't quite enough. So this time we're going to be doing 12 instead. It was so much fun. We basically just stood around in the kitchen and we talked, made pizzas together, and just stood around and ate pizzas because we could only have 2 pizzas coming out of the oven at once. And so it was kind of like, we basically just spent an hour making pizzas together, eating pizza, listening to classic Italian music. It was just the most fun thing in the world. So I think we're going to actually try and start doing this once a week, because it was also very economical. Even though we were making so many pizzas, I estimated our ingredients cost was probably between $12 and $16, which first of all, to feed a family of 12 for dinner, that's amazing. And we also had such a great experience doing it. It was absolutely delicious. My husband, who is Italian, his father grew up in Sicily. My husband said it was the best pizza he had ever had. So he was not, I don't think he was making that up. He's not the type of husband. He tells me, I ask him for honest feedback with all of my cooking and he gives it to me. So, which part of that may have just been the experience, because it really was. It was so much fun. So, okay, I just put in a little over 300 grams of my starter, my sourdough starter. Now I'm going to add in salt. So I need 30 grams of salt. And I'm weighing all of this. Okay, there's 30 grams of salt. And I need 1,500 grams of flour. So this ends up being, I think, about 48 hours before it's ready to bake. So I doubt we'll actually be baking it over the weekend. It'll keep until we're ready to use it next week. But I'm telling you, if you've never done something like that before, I highly recommend that you do it. The sourdough made the crust absolutely amazing. I'll actually post a few pictures right now for you to see how yummy the pizzas turned out. But just the fun of standing around and doing it together. And I baked the pizzas on pizza steels. I had bought those for myself for Mother's Day. And so I had 2 of those, one in each oven. And it was phenomenal. I can't say enough about it. It was such a good experience. So I would recommend that you give that a shot if you haven't already. Okay, that's 1,500 grams of flour. So now I'm just going to use my trusty Danish dough hook and get this mixed up. And so this is the same recipe that I use for my bread, my daily sourdough bread that I've showed before. I need to do a whole video on that, but it's the same recipe. You just you can get 2 pizza crusts out of what you would normally bake into 1 loaf of bread. So the proportions are a little bit different. Instead, normally when I mix up my sourdough bread, I quadruple the recipe. For this, I am tripling the recipe. And so after I get this mixed up, I will set my timer for 30 minutes, and every 30 minutes I will come over here and stretch my dough, which takes less than 30 seconds to do. And so I do that. I like to stretch my dough 4 times. After I've stretched my dough 4 times, I let it rise to about 50%, and then after that I can roll out the pizza dough balls and put them in the refrigerator where it finishes its fermentation for at least 24 hours. But like I said, it's going to be probably 3 or 4 days before we do pizza again. Although, as much as the children all loved it, it might be sooner than that. So it's a pretty messy looking dough when it first starts out, but by the 4th stretch, it actually looks really, really beautiful. If you can describe bread dough as beautiful, which I can. I was telling a friend of mine today that I've gotten to the point in my life where I consider bread, like good bread, a direct blessing from God, because I mean, it's even in the Lord's Prayer, give us this day our daily bread. So at this point, with the kind of bread I've been making, it's just so good, and it is, I consider it to be a blessing. Okay, let me get this dough off of here. I'm gonna set my timer for 30 minutes, and while we're doing that, I'll go ahead and pull out all of the ingredients for making those crock pot dinners that I promised. So let's set the timer. Okay, meet me back here in just a second. Okay, it's finally time. Let me start by closing the pantry door. Okay, so this recipe is not one that I make often. This recipe is not one that I make often, but it is nice to have in the freezer. It's a crowd pleaser. It does not involve a lot of ingredients. It is very simple to throw together. The reason I don't make it terribly often is because it's not super healthy. It uses canned cream of mushroom soup and ranch seasoning packets, which is, it's not normally the type of cooking that I do, but it's still good in a pinch. The kids all love it, so that's why I'm putting it together now. I'm gonna go ahead and just take you through how it is. Okay, so I have 2 packets of these thinly sliced pork chops. I get them at Aldi. They're a little bit, these are a little bit expensive, $4.99 per pound. And this pack is 1.72 pounds. The other one is 1.28. So when I bought these, I didn't realize that the recipe actually calls for 5 pounds. So we're just gonna do it to the best of our ability. And one thing that I'd like to note is that see, this recipe is called Easy Creamy Ranch Pork Chops. I make this more like a gravy, and I actually call it pork chop gravy. So this is gonna end up being a little bit saucier, which is actually good. It's actually exactly what I want. So what you do is you take your 2 freezer bags, and normally I have the freezer bag holder opener thingies, but I'm not sure where I put them. After we renovated the kitchen, they're somewhere, but they're not here. So I'm going to empty these. I have these 3 cans of the Aldi Fit and Active cream of mushroom soup. I'm gonna empty these 3 cans equally-ish between these 2 bags. Let me grab a spatula real quick. So it makes a great noise. I'm gonna do a full can in each bag, and then we'll try to get as close to half a can. That's a horrible noise. Into each can as possible. So I'm gonna scoop this. So the original recipe that I have here, it actually calls for 2 26-ounce family size cans, which is not what these are. These are actually 10.5 ounces each. So we're gonna end up with more of the cream of mushroom soup than the recipe calls for, and less of the pork than what the recipe calls for. But that actually works out perfectly based on the way my family likes to eat it. Ah, I just dropped some of my soup. Well, it's definitely easier to just jiggle it on out. Okay, let me see if I can pick up that little glob. Ew, that's kind of gross. Okay, so now the recipe calls for 2 packets of ranch, which is what I have here. And I got these at Aldi too. I just love Aldi. So I'm gonna pour 1 packet in each bag. It's funny, I go from showing you how I make my sourdough pizza from scratch to working with cream of mushroom soup and ranch packets. There's something for everyone here. Okay, this pack is 1.72 pounds. This pack is 1.28. So I am going to take 2 of these little pork chops and put it with the other group. And then we will have, actually, you know what, before I do that, I'm gonna jiggle it up a little bit. So I'm gonna zip both of these and just mix in the powder with the cream soup just a little bit, just so it's not all clumped together in one spot. That just seems like the right thing to do here. So now I'm just going to put these in here. Just gonna plop them right in. See if I can open this with one hand. Come on. There we go. Okay. Now we'll put these in here. Okay. Now I'm going to wash my hands, and then I'm going to seal the bags, and I'm going to mush everything around real nice. Okay. I have no idea why I've decided to start talking like Cousin Eddie today. So I'm going to endeavor to stop doing that. Ryan and I are going to a fancy restaurant this evening to celebrate our anniversary, and so the last thing I want to do is bring in Cousin Eddie vibes for my anniversary dinner. Okay. So I just mushed that all around, and now I'm going to flatten it out as best I can so that it will shorten the thaw time when it's time to use it for the crock pot, because those are the kinds of things that are important for moms who forget to take their crock pot freezer meal out the night before and put it in the fridge. And that mom is me. Okay, so let me just show you what it looks like. So here we go. 2 packs. So I'm gonna label this with my Sharpie, and I'm gonna go ahead and throw it in the freezer. Okay, so that's about it. I've gotten a lot accomplished today, and I have some work that I need to do on my laptop, and then after that I'm going to be getting ready to go on my date. I will post a picture of the 2 of us as we're leaving. Thank you for joining me.